ونرجع مشاهد دستور وإن شاء الله فاز إن شاء الله محمد طريقتنا الصحبة والخير في الجمعية. Allah'a şükür bu
We give thanks to Allah Almighty.
verdiği nimetlere şükür olsun.
Thanks to Allah Almighty for all the blessings and the divine favors He has bestowed upon us.
Ne kadar şükretsek azdır. Allah bizi imanla
No matter how much we thank Allah Almighty, our thankfulness can never be sufficient.
yaşatıyor.
Allah and the greatest divine favor He has granted to us, for which we can never be sufficiently thankful enough, is the favor of having faith and believe in Allah Almighty, and to follow and to pursue the way of faith, and to live with faith in Allah Almighty.
Allah muhafaza etsin. İnsanlığını ancak Allah'a kulluk yaparak kazanır.
May Allah Almighty protect us and preserve us and make us be persistent in our faith. It is only through our faith and obedience to Allah Almighty that we, as creatures of Allah Almighty, become human beings.
Öteki türlü Allah Azze ve Celle'den uzaklaştıkça kendi insanlığından da uzaklaşır.
The more we alienate ourselves from obedience to Allah Almighty, the more we alienate ourselves from Allah Almighty, the more we will lose of our humanity.
Onun yaptıkları hiçbir işe yaramaz.
If we are away and distance ourselves from Allah Almighty, then nothing we do will have a value and will have any benefit.
Zarardan başka şey değil.
If we distance ourselves from Allah Almighty, all we will be causing will be harm and damage.
Utanç verici derler.
We will then be in a state of shame.
Bir şey oluyor. Allah Azze ve Celle'den uzaklaştıkça insan bu vaziyette gelmiş oluyor.
The more we distance ourselves from Allah Almighty, the more we will get into a state of shame.
Allah Azze ve Celle ne kadar ibadet yapsak o kadar bizim için faydalı.
The more we worship Allah Almighty, the more we are obedient to Allah Almighty, the more it will be beneficial for us.
Allah'a yakınlığımız daha fazla oluyor.
And the more we worship, the closer we will be getting to Allah Almighty.
Tekarrabu ile bil nevafil diyor Allah Azze ve Celle. Yani ibadetlerinizi yapıyorsun, farzları falan.
So it is one thing to fulfill one's obligations.
Daha fazla yakınlaşmak için nafile ibadetler yani.
But in order to get closer to Allah Almighty, the means to get closer is to perform voluntary additional worship.
Onları da yapın.
So it is recommended, in addition to one's obligations, to also perform voluntary and additional worship.
Bu husus namazdaki sünnetler.
So one should pay attention to performing one's sunnah prayers.
Fazla olarak sünnetler, kuşluk.
Because there are additional sunnah prayers.
İşrak, ondan sonra
one may perform the prayer of duha, the prayer of ishraq.
Öğlen namazının farzından sonra 2 rekat, normalde 2 rekattır ama 4 rekat kılması daha fazla, daha faziletli.
Or one may also, instead of praying 2 rakats, instead of performing 2 rakats during the last sunnah of noon prayer, of duhur prayer, one may perform 2 additional in order to perform 4 rakats instead of 2 prayers. It is standard to perform 2 rakats in the last sunnah of duhur prayer, but in order to get more blessings, one may also perform 4 rakats instead of 2.
O hem yatsı namazından sonraki.
And this also applies to the last sunnah of Isha prayer, where instead of performing 2 rakah, one may perform 4 rakah.
Sünnette 4 rekat kılmak büyük faziletleri var.
There are great blessings and rewards to be obtained by, instead of performing 2 rakats, to perform 4 rakats during the last sunnahs of Dhuhr and of Isha prayer.
Tabii 2 rekatta kılınabilir ama 4 rekat işte ne kadar Allah Azze ve Celle'ye yakınlaşmak için her fırsatı değerlendirmek lazım.
Of course, it is accepted to just pray 2 rakah, but following these instructions of Allah Almighty, in order to increase our worship, in order to get closer to Him, we must use every possible opportunity we have, and increasing from 2 to 4 rakah is, for example, a means for this.
Kaçırmamak lazım.
And these are opportunities and chances we must not miss.
Çünkü bir kaçırttın mı artık onu yakalayamazsın.
Because if you miss these opportunities and these blessings, there's no possibility to get them back.
Onun için yapabildiğiniz fırsat oldukça yapın.
So if we have the possibilities and the opportunities to do so, we should seize these opportunities.
Mesela şimdi bu günlerde de çok ihvanlar ziyaretlere gitmek isterler.
Now, a lot of our brothers and sisters would like to perform visits.
Evliya ziyareti.
They would like to visit the Awliyaullah.
Eskiden Ümre'ye de Peygamber Efendimizin ziyaretine bir de
Or they would like to perform Umrah and visit our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him.
Ümre yapmak, o da günahları affettirir.
And to perform Umrah is a means to be forgiven for one's sins.
Günahlar temizlettirir. Orada da tabi Mekke'de kılınan, Kabe'de kılınan namaz 100.000 her yapılan hayır
And if you also then visit Mecca and perform prayer at the Kaaba, then your prayer will be more valuable 100,000 times. Every good deed you perform in those holy lands will be more valuable 100,000 times.
İbadetler, sadakalar, bütün yapılan şeyler 1'e 100.000.
The prayers you perform, the sadaqah you perform, the good deeds you perform, all those will be multiplied and recompensed by 100,000 times.
Yani o kadar yüksek bir fazilet. Onun için
there are these great blessings and rewards to be obtained there.
Oraya gidenler de onu motellerde kalıp da kılmasınlar.
Therefore, those who perform Umrah and go to Mecca and Medina, they should not waste their time in just staying in the hotel rooms.
Farz namazlarına bahusus. Ötekilerini de zaten ötekileri otelde kılınmaz tabi de gene Kabe'de ya Peygamber Efendimiz sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem'in mescidinde kılınan namaz 1000 namaz fazileti var.
They should seize the opportunity, and instead of wasting time in their hotel rooms, in addition to the obligatory prayers, they should also perform additional volunteer prayers. And in order to perform these, one should either go to the Kaaba or one should go to the blessed mosque of our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and perform prayer there, because there it is 1,000 times more valuable.
Yapılan her şey 10.000 katına verilir.
Everything you do will be multiplied by 1,000 there.
Onun için ne kadar elinden gelince fırsatı kaçırmasınlar.
Therefore, these opportunities are not to be missed out. These are chances you must seize.
Fırsatı kaçıran dediğimiz gibi yerine zor koyar.
Because there is no replacement for the rewards of these opportunities.
Onun için fırsat varken her hayrı yapın.
So while you still can, do all the good things.
Her şeyi yapın.
while you still can hasten to do good things.
Tembellik yapmayın.
Do not be lazy.
Fazla da bazen bazı insanlar da çok aşırı gidiyor.
But some people go extreme.
O kadar da gerekmez.
There's no need to go extreme.
Vesvese yapmaya olur o vakit.
Because sometimes Shaitan may whisper in order to get you off the right track by making you go extreme.
Hali zayıf olan insanlar bazı şeyler yapılan nafile ibadetten daha hayırlı olan şeyler de var.
Because everyone has their own capacities and one must do as much as they can and not go extreme. Because if there are additional things to be performed besides voluntary or additional worship,
nedir onlar?
What are these responsibilities one needs to take care of?
İnsan ailesine bakmak.
One needs to take care of one's family.
Rızkına bakmak.
One needs to make sure to make one's living.
Kadın evine bakmak.
Wife should take care of the household.
Kocasına bakmak.
Should take care of the husband.
Çocuklarına bakmak.
Should take care of the children.
Onların ihtiyaçları varsa, ne gibi ihtiyaçlar varsa,
and to attend to their needs, whatever their needs may be.
Onları bırakıp da ben nafile ibadet yapacağım derse,
you cannot just leave these responsibilities by saying, I will no longer fulfill these things, I will just focus solely on additional worship.
O vakit o ibadeti de kabul olmaz.
If you do so, then your additional worship will not be accepted.
Bir şeyden de evine bakmadı, vazifesini yapmadı diye de ondan da hesap verebilir yani.
And you then may even be held accountable for not having fulfilled your responsibilities and not having taken care of your household.
Allah muhafaza etsin.
May Allah Almighty protect us.
Gelemek lazım. Her şey hayrul umur el vasat diyor Peygamber Efendimiz sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem. Her işin orta halle gideceksin.
Follow the middle way, as our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, be moderate in what you do.
Çünkü fazla aşırıya gitmek Hazreti Ali'nin dediği gibi alamet-ül cunun imma ifrat ve imma tafrit. Deliliğinin alametleri, işaretleri aşırı gitmek.
And as Sayyidina Ali, may Allah Almighty be pleased with him, said that if you exaggerate, if you go extreme, it is a sign of craziness.
Ya çok fazla gitmek ya hiç yapmamak.
So one should follow a moderate way and not follow the way of going extreme by either doing too much or doing nothing.
O da bir şeydir. Allah muhafaza etsin. Bu Allah insana yapacağı kadar şeyler vermiş.
May Allah Almighty protect us and preserve us. And we must not forget that Allah Almighty has tasked us with things that is within our capabilities and capacities.
Fazlasını da yapıp da ondan sonra hiç yapmazsa o daha kötü olur.
And He Almighty does not expect us to do things which we cannot deliver. And we should be very careful to not just do too much and go extreme and then in the end do nothing at all.
Onun için orta halle gidip
So it is better to follow the middle way and to be moderate.
Allah kabul etsin.
May Allah Almighty accept the worship.
İbadetlerimizi,
May Allah Almighty accept our worship
yaptıklarımız şeyleri.
and the good deeds we have performed.
Allah hayırlara vesile olsun.
And may Allah Almighty make these become the means for goodness to emerge.
Daim olsun.
And may Allah Almighty make us be persistent and steadfast in our worship.
Devamlılık mühimdir.
Because this is what matters, to be steadfast and consistent in what one does.
Allah daim etsin inşallah.
And may Allah Almighty make us be consistent and persistent.
Allah tevfik. El Fatiha.